It's Bourbon Blog Live. I am joined live from Maryland by my good friend Brian Treacy. He is president of Sagamore Spirit, some delicious rye there in Maryland. We're going to be trying some whiskeys, talking rye with Brian. How's everything there in Maryland, Brian?
Everything's wonderful, sir. Thank you for asking.
Oh, great. No, it's good to have you. I know we met, I'm trying to remember, 5-6 years ago. Do you remember how many years ago you were at the Derby? You're at the Derby every year. I'm trying to remember how many years ago it was.
Oh, yeah. This was 2013 or 14 Derby. Maybe what's the brown party? Like the brown Derby.
The Barnstable Brown, yeah.
Yes. Yep,
that's where you and I met, was at Barnstable Brown. Actually, just announced a couple of days ago that's canceled this year. They're going to be having it next year. And of course, Derby being rescheduled. But we met. We've been staying in touch. I visited your distillery several times when I'm on the East Coast hosting tastings. I think a lot of people probably do know about your rye whiskey and the amazing stuff that you all do. But for those that don't, tell us, what is Sagamore Spirit Rye?
Sure. So, we're based in Baltimore, Maryland, and as you have a pretty sophisticated group following you, so a lot of them probably know. But Maryland used to be famous for rye whiskey, and Maryland style rye kind of really had its own brand identity. It's a little bit fruitier, a little bit sweeter rye, and we have a history of distilling that goes back to the 1600s, 1700s. We really kind of switched over to basically from rum to whiskey, and even right before the Whiskey Rebellion, you had Jacob and Mary Beam in the late 1780s, early 1790s, and Basil Hayden pick up and move out of Maryland and down to a place later eventually called Kentucky. So a lot of folks don't even know those guys started in Maryland. And then, in 1910, we had 44 distilleries in Maryland, all making rye whiskey, kept making it through Prohibition. It's one of the reasons we're called the Free State. And then eventually a lot of the distilleries switched over to ethanol production to help support World War II. The Agricultural Act of 1933, where the government actually subsidized corn and paid people to stop growing rye. And the last distillery closed its doors in 1982 and sold its name off to Heaven Hill, and that's Pikesville Rye. And so, but yet you could go for decades without anybody in Maryland actually making, any rye whiskey, and we just saw that as a great opportunity. So Sagamore, we started in 2013. We launched our first product in 2016. And, our goal is really just to inspire a global passion for Maryland rye whiskey and help bring that and put Maryland back on the map as a, leading distiller state.
That's incredible. And so really Maryland was making whiskey before Kentucky was a state, right?
You said it, not me, but you are right. That's right. We'd like to think we were making whiskey. We were distilling for about 158 years before Kentucky was a state. So,
I know.
Hey, they've got a great program now. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, I know. You were probably wanting me to say it, not you. But I think it is kind of interesting that there's this this shift of having distilleries making great ryes, great bourbons everywhere, and I think it's wonderful that you all are honoring that tradition. And really, before you guys came along, was there much rye or much whiskey even being made in Maryland? Okay, did you hear my question? There you are. I think you froze.
I did not. I apologize.
That's okay. No, I was going to say, before you guys came along, was there much rye coming out of Maryland? Was there much whiskey coming out of Maryland?
No, not much at all. There's several distilleries that started before us.
Right.
Quite a bit of them doing rum, vodka, things like that. But no, there hasn't been much rye whiskey coming out of Maryland. But that's about to change. Not us, but several distilleries are now doing it, which is very exciting. I'm glad the more in Maryland that do it, the better.
Right, absolutely. And it's such a beautiful distillery there in Baltimore, Maryland. I notice a lot of people are joining us. So if you're just joining us, it's Sagamore Spirit Rye. It's Brian Treacy. He's the president, and we really enjoy their rye whiskeys a lot. Let's go ahead and taste this, okay? Why don't we taste? Because I'm already tasting it, but we'll officially raise a toast to you, and I'll pour a little bit here in a Glencairn and drink along with you. Cheers, Brian. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here, and thanks to everyone who's watching. If you're watching this, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, share this, like this, and tell us down below what you're drinking. All right, so what do we have here? What makes this?
So this is our signature rye whiskey. there's a few things that kind of make it a little bit unique and different. Is one, it's an 83 proof, which you don't see many whiskeys, 83 proof. And
Right.
one of the reasons a lot of the historic Maryland whiskeys were either 80 or 86, we kind of split the difference. And then we distill two different mash bills. We distill one that's 95% rye, 5% malted barley, aged that for about 4 to 5 years on this product. And then we distill one we call our barely legal rye, 52% rye, the rest corn and malt, and age that 4 to 5 years.
Wow.
And then this product has a blend of those two straight ryes, so you kind of get the spicy complexity of the high, but this sweet, fruity floralness of the low really makes a very smooth, very complex whiskey for a low-proof whiskey with really kind of a nice sweet finish to it, which we kind of consider to be Maryland style. So, I mean, on the nose, you kind of get a little bit of that rye spice.
Yeah, you do. Nice, spicy, a little bit of creaminess, but you're looking for the Maryland style is partly defined by more of a sweet finish then.
Correct. Yep, in our opinion. And so that's, you even get a little bit of fruit, a little bit of caramel on that. And then definitely some of that classic baking spices, that clove, that nutmeg, but almost a little bit of apricot, a little bit of fruit, a little sweetness to it, a little bit of caramel.
Yeah, some really great. It's sweet, not overly sweet. Maybe a little bit of creme brulee, some dessert-like flavors, but it has the zest of rye, but it's approachable. It's not overdone with the zest, and it's warming. I mean, this is great. And like you were saying, not a whole lot of ryes for the standard release R83 proof. Why did you all go with the 83 proof?
Yeah, so we liked where it fell. We're really trying to define that Maryland approachable rye whiskey. Something that could still stand up in a cocktail. So we knew we'd have the cash strengths and the big and the bolds, but really wanted to grab that other end of the spectrum. And a lot of people are still new to whiskey, or rye whiskey especially. So wanted to kind of get them in the door with this one as something that people are always taken back at how smooth it is. It doesn't have that angular bite to it. So it's a great rye whiskey, especially if you're newer to the category. Still stands up well in a cocktail. And then, like I said, I think Maryland, a lot of their whiskeys were either 80 or 86 proof. So we kind of just split the middle there, if you will. And then we proof everything using the limestone spring water from our little spring house at Sagamore Farm. So that's where we get our name.
That's where you get the name. And what is Sagamore Farms?
So it's a beautiful, now about 530-acre farm. That's 22 miles north of downtown Baltimore. Started by the Vanderbilt family in 1925, and has a lot of thoroughbred horses that train on it. And, this is the birthplace and still buried on the farm today of, for those who remember, Native Dancer, the horse of the 50s, the first animals ever on the front cover of Time magazine. And, it was a gray horse called the Gray Ghost, was its nickname. Everybody would sit around on black and white TVs back in the 50s, and he really popped compared to all those chestnut horses. And especially since he had this stride, I think the typical stride of a horse is, and it's kind of the 20-foot range. He was around 33, the mid-20s, I should say. He was around 33, and he had this knack of never getting out of the starter gate very well, but always came from behind, so it was really fun to watch. He won 21 of 22 races. The only one he lost was the Derby. But in 2008 and 2011, every horse in the Kentucky Derby's bloodline can be traced back to Native Dancer. And he's from that farm. And we still got a lot of great horses. We had one take second place in the Ohio Derby this past weekend. So that's really exciting. And come to find out, the whole farm is built on a shelf of limestone aquifers. So a little luck there too. And so we pull the spring water from our little spring house out there, put it in like 330-gallon totes once or twice a week, depending on what we're bottling. And we'll bring it down to the distillery and we'll proof all our whiskeys using it.
So that's incredible. So what a great history, and having that horse and the bloodline, now other horses, having that history though really go into that bottle really puts sort of this classic Americana equestrian life into this whiskey.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Maryland's got a lot of great horse farms as well. There's so many similarities. I always feel, a lot of times I love visiting Louisville. And it reminds me a little bit of Baltimore too. You know, we've got a power plant live here. They've got the 4th Street live. They're along the water. We're along the water of the Inner Harbor. It's just there's so many overlaps. It's incredible.
It really is. It does have that feel. So many great people, both places. I always enjoy visiting you all there. And and it's an amazing distillery you guys have there, right on the water.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very, very lucky to have the facility we have. So if you haven't been there, we'd love to have you. We took, I think, the number 8 distillery in the country out of top 25 for travel and leisure about a year ago. And we're located right on the water, right in downtown Baltimore, right by Camden Yards, M&T Bank Stadium, right by the Inner Harbor where the aquarium is. It's a 5-acre facility. We've got 3 buildings. We've got a great restaurant, which will be opening back up on Wednesday, which we're excited about. And then, you know, we have our distillery, which has our column still and has 2 350-gallon doublers, 9 6,500-gallon fermenters, and then a 250-gallon pot still batch system, and then another building for all our barreling, bottling, filling, and our visitor center and so forth. So it's a great experience. We do a lot of activations when we can. Right now it's a little difficult, but you know, come down. We're going to move some activations out onto the lawn, and you can sit and have a cocktail, overlook the water, and enjoy the outdoor space.
Incredible. It's such a lovely place. And again, you all just recently have reopened for people to come in and be in the store. That's kind of what's happening now.
Yeah, we closed down on March 14th, and Wednesday we'll be opening back up. We'll be opening up our store, our visitor center, to very limited capacity. You know, we're going to cut the occupancy by half. We still aren't going to run tours. We just don't want to risk putting them in the operations area at this stage. You know, we're going to continue to perfect the process and get a little better, a little wiser as we move on. But we've got a great system in place now to make sure our guests are safe, our teammates are safe, and you can come in, shop, and you can try some of our whiskeys because, you know, it's nice if you can try them a little bit before you actually pull the trigger on some of these. You know, some of them aren't that inexpensive, so.
Right. So it says you can try these out, and then there's some of these that are there some you can only buy in the gift shop, or?
We do. We have 3 core products, if you will. We just tried our signature, if you will, our 83 proof.
Tell us about that. Right. Good
that's
idea.
A double oak. That's 96.6 proof. So we'll, after aging it for about 5 years, we'll age it again for another year in a toasted wave stave barrel. And then we have our cast strength. So those 3 products are available all the time. And then we have a Sagamore Reserve series, which I think we'll talk about in a little bit here, Tom.
Yes.
That's a limited time offering. It can be available in different markets throughout the country. And then we have another line called Distillery Exclusives that in a sense inform the Sagamore Spirit, Sagamore Reserve line. So sometimes it's just 1 barrel, sometimes it's 4 barrels. You know, we've had a sherry finish. The only place you could get it was at the distillery. Just waiting to see how the consumer reacts, what they think, what the feedback is. We have one that we aged in some Lefroy barrels. We had one we about to release that's done in tequila barrels. You know, so it's kind of like this little R&D incubator system, if you will.
And those are called those
are Distillery Exclusives.
Distillery Exclusive. What's the tequila one like?
It's really interesting. You know, I haven't actually had it in a few months because I've been working from home, but it's interesting. Got a little bit of smokiness to it, a little bit of that tequila that really balances well with that the rye spice. You know, it actually works really well. And they had, and I don't quote me on this, but I think tequila was in them for just about 12, 13 years. So it's going to be really fun and really unique. That's for sure. Yeah.
I know when I was there, I'm trying to remember all the ones I tried. I think they pulled out quite a few samples in the laboratory for me to try a bunch of. I think I tried a cognac one and maybe port. I tried a bunch right from the barrel, and they were amazing. I think that cognac one was it a 30-year-old cognac? Is that?
Yeah. So we had the port one won World's Best Rye Whiskey in San Francisco, and then after that we came out with a cognac where we sourced some cognac barrels that had cognac in them for 30 years. Took our 5-year-old rye and finished in it for 6 months. And if you can find that one's absolutely spectacular.
That one's really spectacular too. But in your core, the original rye is incredible. The barrel strength I've had, it's amazing. The double just really gives something that's really a powerful, juicy, and just really robust flavor to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's this one here if you ever, but like it's wild. The mouthfeel on it is so incredible, so different from that wave stave barrel. We'll cut grooves down the inside of the staves. It increases the amount of contact between the whiskey and the wood by about 22 to 25%, and then just doing a toasting on that for another, and then letting the 5-year-old whiskey sit in there for a year. It's beautiful. The color on it's spectacular too. It's totally different. So, and you see some double oak bourbons. You just don't see many double oak rye. So that's a really fun one.
Yeah, I've not seen any those. I think what you're doing with rye, it's very innovative and it's beautiful. And of course, the bottle itself with the imagery here, where it's paying homage to the Sagamore Farm, right? This is the Sagamore Farm.
Yeah, the 3-diamond logo of ours we got from the farm, the Vanderbilt family. The bottle is inspired by some of the old Maryland rye whiskey bottles from the 1800s.
Okay.
We saw one that was embossed down the side, 6-sided, really beautiful bottle.
Yep.
And so we kind of took old meets new, kind of give the folks before us a nod and thank them for what they started, and took the baton from them, and we're moving forward. So.
Excellent. And I'm already seeing some questions. I know Sagamore Spirit is, people are asking where they can find it. It is available in many states. How many states are you guys in?
We're just about 36 states.
Okay. You're in a lot of markets. So
yeah, pretty much the entire East Coast. And we just started moving more into the Midwest, Texas, California, Colorado, Kentucky, but not a lot of places in Kentucky. Indiana, Ohio's just coming on. Minnesota, Chicago, Illinois, kind of, the typical states.
You're in some great markets and seeing you in some great bars, some great places, being really featured as a really loved rye. So that's
And you can go to our website, SagamoreSpirit.com, and on there we have a link called Find Rye. And if you go there, type in your zip code, and hopefully that should help. And if they're not, send us an email at info@, and we'll see if we can help locate one for you.
I'm going to put that, SagamoreSpirit.com. There is the website, and make sure you all check out Sagamore Spirit and follow them on all the social, and so many rye fans. I mean, I love rye, and I know there's a lot of rye fans watching, so this is a rye that you definitely want to check out all their expressions. And of course, we are here every night for you at 8 p.m. Eastern time on bourbonblog.com live. Keep on coming back and checking out great guests like my friend Brian here from many distilleries, many places. We're always tasting something good, and tell us down below what you're tasting tonight. Hopefully they're starting their Monday off with something good. I think Monday's a good day for a good drink, don't you, Brian?
I totally agree. I've been referring to them as COVID Mondays lately. It's like, if you can get through a COVID Monday, you deserve a nice little beverage at the end of the day.
You definitely do. And so I've been experimenting a lot with cocktails. My wife and I have, since we've been, especially during the first few weeks of this whole thing. We were not going anywhere much. Any cocktails that you've kind of stumbled across, or anything you've done with Sagamore that you hadn't normally done that you were like, hey, I'm so glad I was in so I could discover this?
I've recently switched to drinking my Manhattans up. I don't know why, but I just kind of fell in love with chilling a glass and then pulling out of the freezer, stirring it, and then straining it. And I've been doing that with the cask strength and a couple different vermouths, and I'll use a little touch of Benedictine in there, and I've been that's kind of been a go-to for me lately. That's for sure. That's
cool. That's a good plan.
How about you? What have you been? What's your cocktail?
Well, we've discovered several. There's actually I think it's called a Venetian coffee that uses coffee and rye whiskey and Amaro, a little simple syrup and orange bitters, cardamom, and a little cinnamon with whipped cream on top. And and I've been using some Montenegro, a little simple syrup. It's a really robust, well-rounded coffee. I'm gonna have to make some maybe tomorrow for brunch with Sagamore Spirit. Another rye, because I love rye. Another rye cocktail. Have you had revolvers before?
Yeah.
So I love revolvers, but I've really come to love them even more during the quarantine. I think they go extremely well with cigars, and I really love a good revolver. So, but that coffee is like I'm gonna try it with Sagamore. It's like one of my favorite new things. So
there's another one I've done too, called the cold fashion. Have you had the cold fashion where you get the
what is it?
Coffee liqueur and rye whiskey and make it basically the same way? The cold fashion. Really good one.
Nice. So you're pretty much putting a little coffee liqueur in an old fashioned.
Yep.
I like it. That's cool.
A little pick me up, needless to say.
Yeah, it seems like we've all needed a little of these coffee cocktails during not knowing what day or time it is sometimes during. No, we're slowly transitioning out of that. Maybe. Just maybe. Could be, but man, you're right. Just your standard rye. I mean, let's say the standard. This is the original 83 proof. Again, the other ones, the double barrel is how what's the proof on that one?
96.6.
96, and the cask is
usually around 113. And then we have a barrel select. If anybody any retailers by you do the barrel select,
right?
That's all 6-year-old rye whiskey, which we think is a real sweet spot, and 110 proof.
And you'll let them actually choose. That's like the private barrel.
Correct. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of Maryland, a lot of East Coast, or have you had some private barrels all over?
All over, really. We've Texas has bought a tremendous amount.
Nice.
I just actually think just had some interest from Ohio yesterday, or excuse me, Friday, and Florida, but the bulk of them kind of are from Maryland up through New York. That's for sure.
Nice. That's cool. So these barrel finishes have all been just dynamite. All the ones I've tried, I'm trying to remember all the ones I've tried.
I've got a Brewer Select.
What was the Brewer Select? I don't know if I had that one. What was that?
So the Brewer Select is one where this is really kind of a fun story. So we think you work hard all week. On Friday, you deserve a good drink, so we call Friday Rye Day, kind of, if you will. And we launched on Friday, May 13th, 2016. So when Friday lands on the 13th, that's our holiday, if you will. It happens once or twice a year. We decided we were going to trademark Friday the 13th. And come to find out, it was already trademarked by Sierra Nevada. They had made beer out of rye grain. And so we said, why not? Let's just call them and see if they'll give up the marks,
Right.
We said, hey, do you guys want to give up the marks? I can't believe they even took our call. But and then they called us back and said, I'll tell you what, would you be willing to send us 50 barrels and some Maryland rye grain? And sure, no problem. So we did that. And we flew some of our team out to California, brewed a beer with them called Rye Ale, and it was fabulous beer. And then when they dumped the beer out of that, they sent the barrels back to us. We put 4-year-old rye in it, and then when it came out, we proofed that at 90, and it was like a nice sweet caramel, like almost like single malt.
Wow!
It was really incredible, and some of that's still out there, probably.
So again, you made the beer, or your people went up there with them, or California. They made the beer, put it in barrel. Then those barrels came back to you guys.
Yep.
And then you finished your whiskey in that, and so it's gone full circle.
Yeah, exactly.
We
always say, reduce, reuse, recycle when you can.
Yes.
So that was a really fun one. We talked about the cognac finish.
That was beautiful.
And we had a vintner's finish, which was a blend of different red wines, barrels. We had one finish in muscatel barrels.
You did that one too? Yeah.
That was a really great one, kind of like a honey fig, really interesting one. That was fabulous. Now I'm probably starting to overlook some as well. But we've had some fun, a little bit of R&D, get a chance to show off the talents of the team. And, I just think rye whiskey's got so many, it's really, really versatile. It finishes really well in different types, whether it's something that was a wine, a port, or something, a sherry. It finishes well in beer barrels. We did another one with an Imperial Stout. And then, we got the tequila coming out, which is going to be fun. So it's fun. It's a great little program. Depending on how many barrels we source, it can be 6 barrels. It could be 30 barrels. Sometimes it's 3 markets. Sometimes it's 12 markets. And then when it's gone, it's gone.
So they're very limited, sometimes more limited than others, but they're one-offs just to showcase something unique about the barrel itself that it's finished in and your spirit. And the most recent one that we have here is the Calvados finish. And, amazingly, I actually, I'll tell you real quick, we went to the Calvados region of France several years ago. I was a journalist there for a international trophies they were doing for cocktails. I already was a cocktail or Calvados fan. I love Calvados, and a beautiful region and a beautiful spirit. It's great stuff.
It is, and I'll be perfectly transparent. Like, I didn't know that much about Calvados before this project started, and then you kind of dive in and wow, like I don't know what took me so long to discover this, but we ended up sourcing some barrels from the Normandy region of France, and this one again, I'd love to give some credit to our team, our operations team, because they really just put quality first. It's so incredibly important. So basically, what they did is we sourced these barrels. We put our rye whiskey, our 5-year-old, 4 to 4.5, 5-year-old rye whiskey in them, the Calvados barrels, for 13 months. And then when we came out, we just had noticed we picked up a little bit of the French tannin, a little bit of a bite. The guys didn't love it, and they said, "We really don't think you should release this." And so this came out this spring. It was supposed to go out a year earlier.
Wow.
So what do you recommend? And they took some freshly dumped rye barrels, American oak rye barrels, and then put that back into those for another 10 months. And it really balanced out, and I think it's spectacular. We got double gold in San Francisco Spirit Competition. Just got a 91-point rating from Whiskey Advocate. It wasn't easy. The team made some hard decisions, but they made the right decision. It's, I think, just a really beautiful whiskey and works really well with those Calvados barrels. Really got some beautiful apple notes, a little bit of honey. It's beautiful. There's a little baking spice.
Well done. The nose on it is, you do get those apples, but you get that spice. You get there's so much complexity to this. It's very, and again, the total amount of time it was finished was, at the end of the day, was.
After aging the original American oak barrels, we did another 23 months between the Calvados and back into the rye barrels.
And into the rye barrels. And that really helped helped really bring out more.
Yep, really rounded it out. So 13 months in the Calvados barrels, and then 10 months back into freshly dumped rye barrels after already being aged the first time for about 4.5 years.
Wow. Was that one of the first times with this program they had put it back into the rye barrels to bring something out? Yeah. That's so good. It's really seen a journey. You get those Calvados notes, you get that crisp, nice, almost it's apple pie like, but you get so many other spices and it's a little honeyed in places and creamy. It's so spectacular. So people, this is in several markets. How many markets will this be in? It's okay if we can.
This is, and some of the online, if you go to our website too, we have, you can get to an online retailer. Sometimes it's easier that way. But I believe it's in about 8 different markets. So not a tremendous amount, but it's out there. It can be found. It just came out this spring. So, and like you said, it's just like this baked apple pie kind of.
Yes. It is. This is so good. The Calvados finish, and be looking for that. Be looking for any of the finishes. There, you do usually do a couple a year, 2 or 3 a year. You do, or of these?
Yeah, we do. Kind of varies a little bit. We've had one year where we only did one, but we try to do one in the spring and one in the fall. Right. We have a really fun, unique one coming out in the fall. Something maybe has done before, but I haven't seen it. So we're very excited about the one that's coming out in the fall. But for the most part, because this one, Calvados, came out a year later. This year we actually have basically 3 Sagamore Reserve releases, which typically isn't normal, but you don't release a whiskey till it's ready, right?
You do it when it's ready. I like that. I like the fact that you all have that commitment of just being ready. The one in the fall, is that something that you're not talking about yet, or is it?
Not talking about it yet. You'll have to have me back if I can weasel my way back in.
We might be able to do that. I'd love to taste them with you.
If I gave it away, you wouldn't have to have me back.
We still have you back.
But it's a really unique blend of multiple different types of barrels.
Oh wow, cool!
It's going to be pretty spectacular.
Cool. So it's Sagamore Spirit, the core line, the double barrel, the original, the cask strength, and also be looking for their finishes and also their distillery editions there at the distillery. For now, it's rye you're making. Is there ever? I mean, obviously we love rye, and any plans to ever do anything else on the whiskey front, or?
I was always told never say never. And it's one of those things you can't. One of the things we did quickly learn in this business is you can't turn around and say, hey, next year we should release a 10-year-old. Right. You kind of got to plan that 11 years ago. So the focus is rye whiskey right now. That's for sure. That's where our heart is.
Right.
We don't know where we go from here. We've got a lot of work to do. I think for us, we want to stay laser focused on getting known for something instead of trying to cast a wide net. So you'll be hearing a lot about our rye whiskeys for a while.
Excellent. And no, they're all so delicious, and they're really unique from other whiskeys out on the market. You've done so well with what you've done, an incredible team, an incredible place. More and more things will be, as far as on your grounds, opening, it sounds like, here in the coming weeks and months. So people that are visiting Maryland, going through Baltimore, and I'll have to say this, you're not too far from the airport.
No, as you know that, Tom, we're 10 minutes from BWI. So
I've usually made you, not that you're not worthy of my first stop, but I've usually said, look, I want to get to Sagamore before I leave the East Coast because I'm doing other events on the East Coast. So I intentionally booked my flight to go out of Baltimore, and I know that I can have some nice sips right into that last minute till I have to go to the East Coast.
That's right. And there's multiple ways to get to the airport. So if there's an accident, you're not, you've got options. That's the beauty of it, because I've tested that theory, trust me.
Right.
We're real close to the, if you get a chance, hopefully, when things kind of get back to the way we dream of them being, you get a chance to come see your favorite baseball team play the Orioles, or, your NFL team come, or, it's a great, we have so many great restaurants. We've got a world-class hotels like the Pendry. There's just so many great things to come and see and do this amazing city. So, if you come anytime soon, you can even buy some hand sanitizer while you're here. We're looking forward to getting back to whiskey producing here in another month. So just probably like 3-4 weeks we'll get back. We've been making hand sanitizer since March.
Wow. So you guys have really gone just doing the hand sanitizer since then.
Yeah. At first we thought we'd never do it. I mean, it was just someone called us and we said, no, we don't. And then we got a phone call from a local hospital saying, we're going to be out of hand sanitizer in 2 weeks. And they walked us through the entire scenario. They had vision into it from Washington State hospitals, and they laid it out. It was like, holy cow, okay, we better make some hand sanitizer. And so we worked closely with Johns Hopkins University and their pharmacist team and their chemists, and we created one that was FDA compliant and World Health Organization approved. And we started supplying Hopkins alone with about 1,500 gallons a week. And then we've about 150 different organizations and community throughout the community. So once we started that, you really can't leave till you know they're in good shape and their regular suppliers are coming back online, and we're seeing that now. So, it felt great to try and do our part during this, but really looking forward to getting back to whiskey, that's for sure.
Yes, well, and good luck to you as you all do. So many things to see there in Baltimore. Great city. You're from Baltimore, right?
Yep, grew up right here in Maryland. So, when I speak highly of it, maybe I'm a little biased, but I love this place. That's for
That's
sure.
cool. It's
You know,
so great to
this
see.
summer we got our crabs. We're picking crabs again. Crab cakes. You got to come to Maryland and have crab cake. So a crab cake and a Sagamore Rye.
Would you have a favorite one of your ryes to pair with the crab cake?
I'd probably go with the signature, the one we started with. Because it's already got a lot of spice.
Right.
Obviously the Old Bay seasoning and everything. You take a big cask strength in the Old Bay seasoning, your lips are going to be feeling it for sure.
That sounds like a good pairing. That makes me want to travel, which I haven't, like most people watching, haven't done. I want to come have some crab cakes with you there, Brian. No, this is it's great to have you here, and again, it's Sagamore Spirit. Check out all of their ryes and their other products like the Calvados finish. And these, what do these go for roughly? Your core line and your
signature is usually about $39. Our double oak's usually about $59. Cask strength's usually around mid-60s, and then the limited time offerings, they're usually around $69.
Excellent, all delicious stuff. They're so good, and if you can't find them in your market, go online to one of the retailers that ships. I know a lot of those carry them, so check those out and go onto their website to see where you can find the Sagamore Spirit, and then also, while you're at it, I'll throw that up there once again, bourbonblog.com. Bookmark that, and in the meantime, if you have any whiskey questions, don't hesitate to drop me a line at tom@bourbonblog.com, or if you want to talk about a tasting for your business or company. I've been doing a lot of virtual tastings, private tastings, so drop me a line. And this is it's really great to have everyone watching here on our Monday night. Even though it's not Friday Rye Day, Monday is a good time to start with rye. So
That's right.
You can always count on rye for a Monday. As far as what this time in our world, COVID, hopefully things are getting better. We don't know when things will be completely back to whatever the normal will be. What do you think? Being in the industry, how is it going to affect distilleries? How is it going to affect spirits and the enthusiasts that enjoy them? What do you think?
I can speak for the little guy for the most part. It's been challenging, that's for sure, because we're still very much a discovery brand, right? I mean, we don't have a big awareness like some of these. So when all of a sudden you move to curbside, or you don't have a chance to walk the aisles and shop and learn and discover a brand like Sagamore, you feel it. And we've highly focused in on the bartender community and the restaurants. Really is a great chance for you to come in, hear a little bit about who we are, and try our product before going and spending $40 or something. Right. So that was 40% of our business, the restaurants. And so it's been challenging, that's for sure. We rely on events like I think a lot like yourself, to get the name out there. Those are very important for whiskey brands. Right. So we miss all that. We understand and we're being patient, but we certainly miss it. I think it's going to be. I know it's tough on that restaurant community, and you think about how some of your favorite restaurants, you may not eat at them again. Is a little scary to think,
yeah.
But all in all, I mean, this is an amazing country, and I think we'll be just fine in the long run. But there's no doubt there's going to be some knocks, and it's going to be tough on the small distilleries. That's for sure. We're just getting started, a lot of us, and just trying to get the name out there. It's been difficult lately. So, events like this are great. I've been doing a tremendous amount of them. Thank you. And, moving to more online, which we're doing anyways. I mean, we're not going to turn our back on the internet anytime soon. So that's been good. We're moving more and more to that kind of e-com channels to help get through this. That's for sure.
Well, that's so well said, Brian, and definitely support distilleries, small distilleries like Sagamore Spirit and new brands and all those brands. I think it's obviously we love a lot of the big names, but it's so important that people keep supporting local and they keep supporting craft distilleries during this time. That's what we've really been advocating. So we appreciate what you're doing there, and thanks for all you've done for your community with the hand sanitizers and just what you're doing for the the world of whiskey, Brian. You guys are doing an awesome job.
Thanks, Tom.
Cheers, buddy. We'll definitely get you back on here. A virtual toast and a virtual toast to everyone watching us tonight with Brian Treacy and the Sagamore Spirit Rye. And thanks for being here, Brian. Hopefully we'll see you. Hopefully we'll see you soon in Maryland.
I'd love that, man. It's great to see you. I missed the bow tie. Like it's really cool to see you. Sorry we're not seeing each other at a Derby or a Preakness event or something like that. But we'll figure this thing out. And it's great that you and your family are safe. And thanks again for the opportunity. And thanks for everybody who tuned in. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Brian. Thank you so much, man. Thank you, buddy.